The Blue Canoe by David Sidney. First view. Otto, you should see this. What is it? Rayette, with her back to him, bent halfway out the window. Otto, in bed without his glasses, saw only Rayette, that is, a pink terry cloth burr. Really, Otto, take a look. Can't I sleep some more? It's Saturday morning. It was the first day of their week away in Uncle Leo's vacation home, the place rented at half price from Leo, who'd also thrown in a blue canoe. Come here, Otto. Water. Talk about water. It was everywhere. I thought that it rained a lot last night, Rayette. This, though, was ridiculous. As far as they could see, now that Otto had his glasses on, even without using lens wipes, was, ocean. That is, rolling water everywhere except for their small, rocky promontory. Well, at least the canoe's there, Otto. Ice caps. What do you think happened, Rayette? Using a loose part of a robe to clean his glasses, he now had a better look. The ice caps must have melted all at once. What? You know, the polar ice caps. The caps, but why, Rayette? He'd heard about global warming, but this? All at once? After one last survey of the liquid landscape, she turned back into the damp room. You're okay with canoeing, aren't you, Otto? Quantum effects. It is generally assumed, according to classical physics, that ice melts as a result of heat transfer. Of course, classical physics is only an approximation. Underlying the workings of the entire universe is quantum mechanics, and no one really understands quantum mechanics. Did the polar ice caps care about heat transfer? As far as they were concerned, why bother screwing around? Get the classical melting process over instantaneously with one quantum leap. What the hell? Were global climate accords going to be followed anyway? The ice caps understood. Otto realized his moose hide slippers weren't on. He turned back into the room. You're right, Rayette. At least we have the blue canoe. Outside. Covered in terry cloth, protected by moose hide, they went out to inspect what was left of Leo's rental property. It was down the rope ladder, over and around the rocks, through the trees, then back up the ladder to the poorly hinged front door. That door needs to be repainted, Otto, and rehung. Rayette grimaced as she took in the sea. The canoe could stand some more paint, too. The canoe. Otto never liked canoeing. It's tough on the knees and upper body. His J-stroke was poor, and his cross-bow draw no better. Maybe we could canoe together, Rayette. What do you mean? I thought you'd go out in the canoe. You know, look around, fish, do things like that. Maybe you'd like to go out yourself and try it. Forget it. The coin-operated laundromat. The idea of their going away for a week was Uncle Leo's. Otto, in charge of one of his uncle's 3 laundries, sat in his molded plastic office chair when Leo stopped by a month before. Always on your ass, huh, Otto? A coin-operated laundromat is a good business, a cash business, but the water is monitored so governmental authorities know how much income is produced. For taxes, that is. Leo hated taxes. He also hated any employee sitting around, even if there weren't any customers. There's always something to do in a coin-operated laundromat, if only mopping the linoleum floor or checking the storeroom for fly paper or rat poison, because flies and rats can be problems. Leo's offer. You and Rayette have an anniversary coming up, don't you? All year they'd planned to go to Atlantic City. You know, I have a place, and I can give it to you for half the price for a week. He sweetened the deal. And I'll throw in a blue canoe, too. Behind Uncle Leo's offer. 1. An hour before he'd driven to the laundromat, Leo learned that Al Fromkin wouldn't be renting the property as previously agreed upon. Al Fromkin was not the kind of person ever to give a down payment. 2. I'll tell you what, Leo, I've got a canoe. A canoe, huh? Yeah, a blue canoe. Hasn't been used in years. Good as new. I'll throw it in. Just needs a little paint. Blue, huh? It'll be near that rental place of yours next week. I'll drop the canoe off then. Sounds good. There was no chance Al would ever come up with the money. And Leo, one favor deserves another. How about if I get some free washes and dries at your place? I'll mention it to my nephew Otto, so he won't charge you, Al. Blue. You know, it's kind of romantic, Otto. What do you mean? They'd grabbed a bite to eat. In preparation for their vacation week, Rayette brought coffee, donuts, hard-boiled eggs, cream cheese, and bagels. There was also canned goods, especially beans, which she stored in the Blue house's pantry closet. Why the place was painted blue inside and out, she couldn't understand. Romance. We're here, alone, together, Otto, just the two of us. Don't remind me. What? Otto brushed some donut crumbs away. I just meant the alone part. What if we're the only two people left in the world, Rayette? It's still romantic. How about being alone together like Romeo and Juliet? Didn't that end poorly? Or Adam and Eve? We could be the start of, well, everything. Didn't that end poorly too? After 2 weeks. How long are you going to keep staring at the water, Otto? He was in his slippers, and that was it. From the lumpy bed they shared, she had a view beyond Otto's backside to the clouds, the mud-brown sky, and even the heavens from which they say comes all help. What? I'd like to make a berry pie today. Do you think you can catch some fish? Fish and pie go well together when there's little choice on the menu. How come it's always fish? Because, Otto, we're in the middle of an ocean, maybe the only ocean. There's one berry bush, and I don't think you're going to catch any seagulls. Now poultry was out. So I've got to get back in that damn blue canoe. He turned so she had a full frontal view. Seabirds aren't that tasty anyway, Otto. Complaints. You talk about me not doing enough, but how about you in that canoe? Otto was distracted. He was late. He'd spent too much time wasting time that morning. Which morning was it now? Had another week passed, or was it 2? Are you listening, Otto? He explained he had to get moving, had to get out in the canoe before the sun was at its maximum intensity. Due to quantum effects, the sun in its core fuses protons into helium nuclei, releasing incredible energy in the form of photons. High-energy photons can literally fry anyone's skin exposed in a canoe. A significant amount of dangerous ultraviolet, UV, radiation gets through the worst cloud cover. You haven't seen the paddle, have you, Rayette? Paddle? For the past week I've been using my hands. I can't find the damn thing. Was it blue? I'll look for it, but it'll be hard to find if it's blue. Color scheme. 1. The house was blue. 2. The sea was blue. 3. The closets were blue. 4. The chimney was blue. 5. Her terry cloth robe was pink, but turning somehow almost a light blue. 6. Otto was sunburnt. 7. The trees and shrub bushes were anemic. 8. The canoe and lost paddle were blue, if something lost even counted. 9. The sky was ugly, dirt brown, smudged with black, similar in appearance to much of the laundry in Leo's wash and go, even after washing and drying. That is, in Leo's laundromat before the quantum shift. Lemons. When you have only lemons, make lemonade. That sentiment is as basic as it gets. It could have been stenciled on the back of Rayette's robe as she sat at the blue kitchen table. Otto wished he had a quarter for every time she said it, for he thought in terms of loose change as a result of working at the laundromat. Was it 2 weeks already, or had 3 passed since he'd last seen Leo's wash and go? The berries are white, so we'll have whiteberry pudding. You understand, when you have only white berries, make whiteberry pudding. So it would be more pudding. By the way, Otto, we've used up the last of the beans. The cream cheese, the donuts, virtually everything they'd packed for the original half-priced week away had been consumed. There were still a few bagels, the tooth-breaking kind. One was sesame seeds, hard as rocks. Leo's rocks. How long are you going to sit there, Otto, staring at the blue wall? If you want something blue, go down that salty rope ladder, over the rocks, and get in the canoe. We need fish. Listlessly, he moved his fork through the plate of scrambled seagull eggs, adding nothing to the scramble. Was Eggs Benedict an extinct dish? You know these rocks we're on? She knew them only too well after 3 weeks. What was it about the rocks? I mean, how come we ended up above water? Whenever rocks and whatever else is on them, like your uncle's damn blue house here, or one of those trees whose branches scratch so much because there's no space to walk without getting cut to pieces, whenever anything like that is higher than the water level, it happens. That's it? It happens? Yeah, you can see that it happened. Right. That is, he only had to look through the off-center window. But Uncle Leo's couldn't have been the highest rocks in the world. There were higher places, like mountains or Cheyenne, Wyoming. He had once been to Cheyenne for a dry cleaning and laundromat convention. Unconventional. According to classical physics, an instantaneous ice cap melt would cause a tsunami of Old Testament proportions. The asteroid impact that wiped out all non-avian dinosaurs 66 million years ago, ended the Cretaceous period, ushered in the Pliocene, was a mere bag of shells compared to what happened to Rayette, Otto, and every other living creature, down to the most insignificant and odd-looking virus, if viruses can be considered living. But that did not happen. Quantum mechanics reared its weird head again, so to speak, because no one really understands quantum mechanics. No one can speak in quantum terms without appearing as foolish as Otto in a canoe. No one can adequately explain the added quantum effect coincident to Earth's water table rise of the simultaneous and instantaneous lowering of all rocky places, including Cheyenne, Wyoming, not to mention the Himalayan mountains. Of all the world's rocky places and promontories, Leo's rental property was left not only the penultimate, but the ultimate elevation. Altogether unconventional, it happened. The following week, we've been here for 3 weeks already by my count. I've kind of lost track, Rayette. Could he be faulted? Day after day, he was out in the leaky blue canoe. Yes, canoes fall apart over time. They are subject to inherent vice. As much as Otto disliked the small craft, the feeling was mutual. Well, one of us has to keep track. I've been making notches on the kitchen table, one each morning. You know, I thought your side of the table was starting to look, well, a little beaten up. And to think I wanted to start my own restaurant before we came here. Water. She would have had her own business. Otto had the coin-operated laundromat. She would have Rayette's dinette. Yes, she would even make Eggs Benedict. That was the plan before the week at Uncle Leo's rental property. And, of course, the quantum changes. I didn't think it would turn out like this, Otto. Sitting there, looking from the splintered table, beyond the blue pantry door, to the teapot rigged up with a piece of hose to boil and desalinate salt water, she considered what might have been. Rayette, if we had a little more fresh water, we could make more coffee. If you think you can desalinate any faster, be my guest. She sounded more and more like a dinette owner. Further inventory. 1. Flies. Did you see that? He couldn't be faulted for missing the fly. It zipped by. He had not wiped his lenses. Another fly, Otto. There seemed to be more of them around the canoe, too. Are they attracted by the dead fish? No, I don't think there are more dead fish. There just seemed to be more flies for some reason. Did more flies mean that life, if it could be called life, was still going on? Perhaps even advancing, procreating, evolving? Did more of the bulbous-headed insects portend a better future? 2. Rats. And I saw a rat the other day, Otto. What? Well, its snout, anyway. I didn't want to look at the thing in the pantry there. She pointed in the general direction. Flies? And now rats? Their vacation home seemed more like a coin-operated laundromat every day. Numbers. There are approximately 17 quadrillion flies in the world, or there were until Rayette's and Otto's week away. There were about 7 billion rats, about one for every former person. As far as persons, there were now at least 2. You know, it doesn't take much to see that the problems of 2 little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world, Rayette. Speaking of problems, we need more eggs and fish, Otto. They were out of beans. Beyond eggs and fish. Did he have to hear that again? Wouldn't there be time enough to go over the egg and fish problem? Didn't Rayette realize that Otto frequently lied about hand-paddling the canoe in pursuit of dinner, that more often he chased after seagulls on the slippery rocks, gulls who, after diving unerringly into the sea from which all life becomes, brought smelts and possibly herring ashore in their beaks for their young or for themselves to feast upon, to enjoy, until Otto pounced? Or that, giving up on the birds, he would pick up dead fish that washed ashore, if rocks can be considered a shore, or alternatively, bashed fish, hurled by brutal waves against the boulders during one of the overnight storms that ruined all chance of sleep, drenching the blue bedroom, leaving Otto all wet in the morning since Rayette made him sleep closer to the window. That is, he picked up fish with their brains bashed in. Otto called the fish his catch. And as for the eggs, it was similar. That is, descending the rope ladder, turning either right or left, it didn't matter, since on the rocky promontory female seabirds will lay their eggs as best they can, while hoping to share the incubating with the males. He would charge as best he could, often slipping in such a way as to terrify the nesting birds. A break. It's been 40 days now, Otto. He'd lost count. How about if we do something different? What do you mean, Rayette? Walking around the rocks wouldn't be different. There were no new trees to observe, nor bushes with, say, different colored berries. Swatting flies wouldn't be different, and after you've swatted one fly, you've pretty much swatted them all. It was the same with hurling shoes at rats to keep the rodents in their holes. How about going out in the canoe together? She'd bring berries and hard-boiled eggs to eat. The bagels were too hard. While I boiled the eggs, I decanted some extra fresh water at the same time. Are you sure, Rayette? Of course I'm sure I boiled the eggs. No, I mean, do you really want to go? It'd be, how should I say, romantic? Like Romeo and Juliet? That ended poorly, Otto. Getting started. I'll see if it's ready. He didn't use the term shipshape. No, that would be Uncle Leo speaking. Descending the rope ladder, he could hear his uncle growling, as Leo so often did when grinding on a cigar stub, inspecting the laundromat. Get this damn place shipshape, Otto, and shape yourself up. You realize you're running a business here. As he glanced up, he saw Rayette in her robe on the way down. Are there many flies, Otto? Not that many, Uncle Leo. If anyone hated flies in this place, it was Leo. Come again? I mean, maybe a few more flies than usual, Rayette. Patches. For a while they bobbed offshore together, Rayette in the bow. The canoe had its dents. I see you've learned how to patch it, Otto. She lay back on one of the makeshift leaf plugs as they rose and fell with each wavelet and swayed gently from side to side. It was cramped. She thought of ways to make the blue canoe tidier in the future, more like a dinette. There was a break in the weather. Gazing up, her eyes slits, she saw a patch of blue and birds. Look at the gulls, Otto. Luck. Damn. What is it? One of those things crapped on me. Reflexively, he held his head. The bird knew Otto, no doubt recalling a pilfered egg or perhaps a lost fish, which it snatched from the sea for a meal. A silver fish when it dropped on the rocks as Otto, his arms waving wildly, ran after it. Birds are revengeful. That's good. What? Otto, it's good luck to have a bird crap on your head. Happiness. Rub some seaweed on it. Did she have to instruct him on cleaning up? If not for the world being underwater, wouldn't he, at that moment, have been back at Leo's wash and go, wiping the floor? Or sitting in a molded plastic chair, more comfortable than a Blue Canoe thwart? Isn't it nice to get away like this, Otto? Just the two of us? Look up there, Rayette. Is that a buzzard? He was still focused on the sky, from which came problems. Had buzzards somehow survived the quantum shift? It would be like buzzards to do that, to keep life going after all. With a few of them, the place could be called Buzzard's Bay. Keep your head up, Otto, and your hands off. Maybe that bird'll splat on you. Do you mean? Yes, we'll get even more good luck than just seagull crap. A buzzard. This could be the start of a happy day.